minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Ring-a-ling, wake up, cock-a-doodle-doo. It's a football Friday, and oh my God, am I worked up for the big games this weekend. I hope you all are too. Been waiting all week to talk about this. Got a very special program today. Kevin Hughes, Kevin the Medium, from the Hughes Sports Podcast will be joining us for the final time from Mexico before he heads back to the motherland. Jim Barker coming up in hour 2, as you're used to on Football Fridays. And the new head coach, general manager, and offensive coordinator of the CFL's Ottawa Redblacks is going to be joining us coming up in hour 2. So it's a very big day. Kevin the Medium, good to see you. You still haven't washed your BC Lions jersey. And listen, I'm all geeked up, and I don't have a dog in the hunt at all. How are you feeling about the big Western final on Saturday in the CFL, Riders and Lions?
I am getting jacked up for it. I'm really looking forward to this game. Obviously, I mean, I haven't put it down. I take it off, just so everybody knows. I haven't worn this for 3 weeks straight. I wear it for the show, then I take it off, people. Just relax.
Okay. I was telling the viewers yesterday, that jersey was white when you got to Mexico. It's now gray. Okay, let's get going. Quick 6 show topics, everybody. I'm just going to open with the NFL, and I will just preface this by saying we'll spend more time on the Thursday Night Football game coming up in hour 2 when we air live in Las Vegas on Nevada's #1 sports channel. But we're on Game Plus here right now. They like the NFL too. Denver's defense bailed out the Broncos in a 10-7 NFL win Thursday night over the visiting Las Vegas Raiders. On Thursday Night Football, the Broncos sacked Geno Smith 6 times to make up their spotty performances on offense and special teams. Will Lutz's 32-yard field goal in the third quarter was the winning points. It broke a 7-7 tie after Daniel Carlson missed a 48-yarder to tie it. The Broncos chewed up the rest of the clock with a long drive. So for the Raiders, we're going to talk about this again next hour. We all, including me, thought the Raiders were going to be the surprise team in the NFL, or at least the majority of our NFL pundits thought that. But nobody said the Denver Broncos, who've now won 7 in a row, and nobody said the Indianapolis Colts, who might be the best team in the NFL. But kudos to NFL Radio's Zig Fracassi, Arash Madani, and Cincinnati ESPN's Mo Egger. They all said the Patriots were a team to watch, and they have been that. But more on that coming up next hour. Okay, moving on to point 2, Kev. Because this first segment is so rushed here in the warm-up, I just want to say this. This whole Dinwiddie thing, and I've been texting with him, and by the way, what Mike Kelly said about him yesterday, that he's bitten off more than he can chew in Ottawa. Oh, yeah, Dinwiddie heard it. He's not happy about that. He will address that in hour 2. But it has really taken away from the playoff games. Like, there's no penalty for that. But do you not think the commissioner, Stu Joe, might want to call Ottawa and go, you really pooped on the parade here, guys. Nobody's talking about our division finals this weekend. In a day of sober thought, do you think this is a thing? Because I'm starting to think that it is.
I'm kind of confused on why it was allowed to happen. And again, I go to, this wouldn't happen in the NHL. This definitely wouldn't happen in the NFL. Why is it allowed to happen in the CFL? Is it not something where they have to pass this through the head office before they make this big announcement the week of the Western and Eastern final games? Just confuses me. It's something you might, no, you won't ask them. Never mind.
What? Go ahead.
You can ask Mr. Dinwiddie, was like this announcement, why did it come out when it did? Why wouldn't we wait till after the Grey Cup?
Well, the rule of thumb is, as the longtime CFL guy that I am, it's only during Grey Cup week that you're not allowed to have any announcements not pertaining to the game. So they didn't technically break any rules here. And the narrative, if we believe in narratives, is that this all started real quick. We just started thinking about it on Monday, and by Tuesday, that it all happened real fast, which is possible. I don't really believe that. I've been on the phone all morning with football people, man. What warmed my heart the most was that what Mike Kelly said yesterday got back to Dinwiddie, which I knew that it would. It's got everybody talking, and this show continues to be the legit source for the real CFL talk. Now, regarding the division finals, and the reason I'm kind of getting to this right now, because we'll spend way more on it after the break. But as the football guy that you are, you're football number 1, played the game. I did not. I did not play football, everybody. Kevin the Medium did. If the Lions are going to go in to beat the Riders on Saturday, which you've predicted that they will, how are they going to do it?
Oh, by the grace of God. It was funny because before I came on the air, I was literally going through the game notes and trying to grasp on something that would give me a little bit that there was something in the past. Yeah, no, every stat out there literally says the Riders will win. But you know me, I don't go by stats. I go by this feel. I have this feel. And I honestly can say I have this feel that the Lions are going to pull out a miracle. And will it be a miracle? I mean, they've won, 7 straight now? Going on, is it 7 or 8 straight?
It's 7. It's 7. Well,
so
here's the
hottest
thing.
Team in the league?
The guy in the BC Lions jersey says, I have a feeling BC's going to win. See, that's the thing about being the irrational fan. And if you're relying on God, because I was sitting there looking at, you guys had a kick return touchdown last week, right? In the win over the Calgary Stampeders. I'm like, maybe it's going to take some complimentary football here. Maybe it's going to take Trevor Harris gets lost on his way to the stadium. Basically, you're saying it's going to take some divine intervention for the BC Lions. That's kind of what you're saying.
It is.
Well, it didn't work to get Cody Fajardo into the playoffs. And from an X's and O's standpoint, it will take some complimentary football and scoring, and they're going to have to get creative, because if it's 42 men or 44 men versus 44 men, the Riders are better. You said, all the stats say that. At the quarterback position, I'm not sure. And listen, we're going to have to break here in just over a minute, but in 30 seconds, Nathan Rourke needs to win this game, in my mind, to be legit as the face of the league. He really does.
He needs to have the game in his life and to be serious. I mean, yes, we need to come up. Our defense has to play better than they've played all year. And Rourke has to have that game. Rourke has to have that 100-plus yard game to make this work.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Somebody brought that up to me. You just said the Canadian thing. The Western Dodge text line is open, 902-518-3033. From trucks to SUVs, Western Dodge has what you're looking for. Visit them or online at westerndodge.ca. CFL fans rejoice, and football fans around the world. The RP Show's talking ball today, specifically CFL. We'll get to NFL and college a little later on. Kevin the Medium joining us from the Hughes Sports Podcast, and we will be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hey, everybody. Rep the show you love. Shop the Rod Pedersen store today at rodpedersen.com. Just click on RP store. Caps, T-shirts, bunny hugs, hoodies for those that don't know, mugs, and all the rest. Kevin, the medium, is with us from Mexico. He's all, like all of us, all riveted and ready for the big Western final tomorrow. From the audience, Kev, regarding this Ryan Dinwiddie thing, being plucked away from the Toronto Argonauts to be the head coach, GM, and offensive coordinator in Ottawa. I'm saying it's overshadowing the playoff games. Eric in Vancouver says, regarding Dinwiddie, we're talking about the CFL. It's all good news. That's what I thought Thursday morning. But now I'm sitting here going, it's not selling tickets for these Division 5. If we're not talking about it, it's not driving hype to the games. And that's how the league looks at it. That's all that I'm saying. Having said that, Tony in Saskatoon writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, good morning, Rod Squad. This Ottawa hiring will overshadow the playoff games if you let it, which I don't. All that I'm saying is the Ryder game isn't sold out. I kind of know a little bit about this perilous trade. The more we talk about it, the hype gets generated. People want to buy tickets. People want to watch on TV. And the more time talking about Ryan Dinwiddie, it's less time talking about the games. But who the hell am I? As I get reminded regularly. Ryan Dinwiddie coming up next hour, and which by the way is a whole other thing. Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says Arash Madani said on a podcast that he thinks it will be either Mike O'Shea or Chris Jones as the next head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. Now you can't stop this, and what I mean by that is if your team's not in the playoffs, they're not talking about the West Final in Calgary. I wouldn't think they're not talking about the East Final in Toronto. They're talking about their teams. So again, the Dinwiddie hire is a big stink bomb on everything. That's all that I'm saying. Should I move on, Kev? What do you think? What are your spirit guides telling you?
We need to focus it back onto what's actually happening this weekend, which is the games.
Okay.
Yes, the Dinwiddie thing is a big story. There's no two ways about it. If we didn't cover it, then people would be like, why aren't you guys covering the Dinwiddie story? If you cover it, why aren't you covering you're darned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah. What I will say is they're very fired up in Ottawa, and I like to hear that. Dinwiddie is an awesome guy, and by the way, he's coming up next hour. And again, he wasn't real pleased with what Mike Kelly had to say about him biting off more than he should chew or can chew. Gary in Winnipeg writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, happy Football Friday to everyone. Presently, the weather forecast for Winnipeg on Grey Cup Sunday is +9. Hopefully the win factor will be minimal. Keep your fingers crossed. Kevin, the medium, is going to be there with the Hughes Sports Podcast. Our business manager, Joe 747 Gunnis, is going to be at the Grey Cup as well. So everybody's going to be there but me. But that's okay. I'll tell you what, it's travel chaos in the U.S. right now, which I won't go much further than. Moose is in Lake Tahoe. I got friends heading down to L.A. for a sports week. Adam, I'm very happy to be pitted in here, not going anywhere. The poll question, by the way, for EMJ Marketing today, by the way, from impactful speakers to strategic marketing, EMJ Marketing is your all-in-one solution. Visit them at emjmarketing.com. Who will win the division finals? I love this time of year when we have these as our poll questions. And leading the way is Montreal, Saskatchewan. And those are the favored teams based on all the betting odds. But, Kev, you want to refresh with the viewers what your picks are? I remember who they are, but who do you think is going to win on Saturday?
Of course, I'm going against the grain. I'm taking, of course, BC, but I'm also, I don't know. I think Bo Levi is going to take charge of that Eastern final and really show people who he is, or I should say, remind people who he is. And I think it's going to be a BC Hamilton Grey Cup.
Well, you're not the only one. Scruffy said the same thing earlier in the week, and that pissed everybody off. I mean, can we all just... These are just picks, everybody. This is not a case of national security here. Okay, let's just calm down. I'm sitting here. Oh, here's another one. I mean, you know Bo Levi as well as anybody, having lived in Calgary for as long as you have. Count him out. He loves that. And I'm the same. I've had a lot of people say, you two hate each other because you're too much alike. I don't know. I've never met him, and I don't want to meet him. But I kind of get it. But Davis Alexander over there in Montreal. Kev, did you watch the East Final or semifinal? gashed Winnipeg. Like, Davis Alexander is all that.
Yes. I mean, yes, it became a close score, but if not for 5 minutes in the beginning of the second half, that game is a blowout, and Alexander had complete control the whole time. So to count Alexander out, you're making a mistake, but also to count Bo out, you're making a mistake. And that is why I think this game is going to be a fun game to watch.
To the East Final, God, my headphone won't stay in. The East Final, in my mind, has far more intrigue than the West Final for the reasons we've just said. You know, Bo's like old enough to be Davis Alexander's dad, for God's sakes. But this kid, he said, Davis Alexander, the young Montreal quarterback, who's never lost, by the way, he goes, I'll say this in the most humbly way possible. I was born for this league. And when I read that, I don't know if you saw that quote or not, but I loved it. I was just telling somebody the other day. I was talking about Dinwiddie on the phone with a guy this morning. He's cocky. I love guys like that. I'm cocky. I love that. What did you think when you heard that about Davis Alexander?
As soon as you said it, it reminded me of another young hotshot called Trey LaSavage. I'm built for this. That's what he said going into game 1 of the World Series. And he is. Is Alexander that guy? Well, he hasn't lost yet, and it's been 12 starts.
I love it. Well, go out and prove
it's going to be. That's why we want to watch the games.
Of
That's
course.
why we wake up on Saturday morning going, let's go. I almost said Sunday morning. Oops.
Yeah, well, and that's
school.
another thing, by the way. I said in my commentary today, I said, thank God the CFL moved the games up a day. One less day to wait. I'm so fired up for these games, and I don't even have a damn dog in the hunt, as I say. You know, Jeff the Stamps fan writes in regarding this West Final. He says Nathan Rourke is still young enough that he will get some grace if they don't get there. Well, we happen to have a BC fan here. I mean, as the story goes, this should be Nathan Rourke's time. If you want to be in the pantheon of the greats, you kind of got to win this game. There's no guarantees you're going to get back.
He will always be a good quarterback. If he takes us to the promised land and actually wins this game, goes on to Winnipeg and wins that game, now we can talk about this young fella is the elite. Until then, we can't say those words when we mention Rourke. Is he one of the better quarterbacks to play the game? I'll take off my jersey and I will show stat after stat to prove he's one of the best to play the game. He's that good.
Yeah. Well, I've said it a couple times on the air, so I'll say it again. I'm not really letting the cat out of the bag, but I got a photo from within offices of the BC Lions with our show on the television. So I'm like, oh, great. Let's just say how bad Nathan Rourke sucks if he doesn't win. I'm just saying that'll fire the kid up. I've already picked the Rough Riders to win the game. It's not like Trevor Harris on the other side doesn't have enough motivation of his own. Why? We don't even need to go down that road. That at 38, 39, whatever the hell he is, he's never won a Grey Cup as a starter in the Canadian football. They wouldn't even need to talk about that. That's so elementary, you know. And he's over, 10 years the senior of Nathan Rourke. Mark from Melfort writes in. He says, it's going to be great tomorrow at the Rider versus BC game. Bunny hug and Took, and we're good to go. It's going to be +8 and clear in the Hammer. I just looked it up. That's Celsius.
Nice.
And in Sask during the day, -3. I think it's going to dip to maybe double digits below. So I feel for you all, but you've been through far worse. Here's one. So you mentioned the game notes. Here's the first thing that popped in my very scrambled brain. For the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they enter their 32nd division final this week. So in their 100 and however many years, 115 years, this is their 31st time they played in the West Final. All-time record in it, 13-18. That's their record. That's a losing record. The BC Lions entering their 25th division final since 1954, the year of their inception, and they are 10-14 in West Division finals. So I'm like, they both have losing records, and oh, great, nobody's going to win.
And BC has lost, I think it's 7 or 8 in a row. Western Finals, going back to 2011 when the last time they won. It's like, and that's where I was going through trying to find something that I could come on the air with and say, look at this stat. This stat says BC is going to, there's nothing there to say BC is going to win.
Now I see why you're pointing to the man upstairs. Well,
it's the only thing I've got left.
Nathan Rourke and Trevor Harris are both God guys. So we'll see how that goes. Whoops. Just about knocked my clock on the floor. It's 5 in a row. 5 West Finals the BC Lions have lost in a row. 5 of them. And I don't know. This is the time of the year to get into this. I know the hardcore CFL fans would be loving this. All time, the BC Lions have had 24 different quarterbacks start at least one playoff game. Nathan Rourke is 2-1. Who do you think started the most playoff games as a BC Lions quarterback in the history of the franchise?
Who? Doug Flutie?
Joe Cap.
Oh, wow.
And it was in the year you were, over the years that you were born was one of those years. It's going back. The guy that got in the fight with Angelo Mosca at the Grey Cup, Joe Cap. Roy DeWalt. Nice. Roy DeWalt is next. And then Nathan Rourke. Nathan Rourke is 3rd on the list. Joe Cap started 6. Roy DeWalt started 5. Nathan Rourke has started 3. And 4 other quarterbacks have started 2, if I got this right. Damon Allen, Ken Austin, Matt Dunnigan, Casey Printers. Wow. I might be. Oh, it's by wins. It's by wins. Nathan Rourke's 2 wins are 3rd, along with Damon Allen, Ken Austin, Matt Dunnigan. But if he wins this one game, he's into a tie with Roy DeWalt for 2nd most. For the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Canada's team. Does anybody still call them that? I started that phrase, just so you know. Despite playing 41 more playoff games than BC, the Riders have only had 20 all-time quarterbacks in the playoffs. That's 4 less than BC, and they've been around twice as long. Do you know why? Because Ronnie Lancaster, the Little General, started them all. Yeah. Number 23, the Little General, and his grandson is the offensive coordinator for Saskatchewan. But the Little General started 32. Number 2, I won't even lob this at you because you'll never get it. Frank the Trigger Trapuka. From 1954 to 1956, he started 10 games. And Dedian Durant is 3rd in games started for the playoffs for the Rough Riders. Why are you laughing so much? Is it because you're seeing how fired up I'm getting here?
Well, and the first 2, I wouldn't have, you could have given me $1 million to try to name them. I don't even know who they were.
Lancaster?
Well, Lancaster I did. The second one I didn't.
Frank the Trigger Trapuka, who came to the Rough Riders from the NFL. I want to say Denver in the 1950s. Mike, if you don't know Ron Lancaster, you're going to need to get out.
Goodbye.
Just so you know. There's a statue of him in front of the stadium, for the love of God.
Did I mention I'm moving there to Saskatchewan?
You're going to love it. You're going to fit right in. You better figure out who Lancaster is before you get there. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and he says, Ryan Dinwiddie on your show? Yes, that's right. Dinner coming up in hour 2 at the blessing of the Ottawa Redblacks, his new employer. And as I've had a lot of people writing me going, oh my God, you got Dinwiddie? Life's about relationships, people. Just so life's about relationships and friendships. Dinwiddie and I go a long ways back, and we're quite close. And he'll be coming up next hour, and I'm really looking forward to that, along with Jim Barker. We'll be right back, everybody, with Kevin the Medium right after this. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Football Friday on the RP Show on the Game Plus Television Network.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. Yeah, let's keep it November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at zasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
It's hour one of the RP Show on a Football Friday on Game Plus TV. Kevin the Medium with us from Mexico. By the way, does your message stand out at Outlaw Communications? We make sure it does. Tony Plater brings 35 years of communication and leadership expertise, from media training and leadership coaching to strategic crisis planning and compelling content. He'll help you lead with confidence. Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. And we do the Junior Hockey Report every single day here on the RP Show. It's brought to you by the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. And in the dub tonight, there are 11 games, including the Warriors at the Saskatoon Blades. So if you're in the area, get out and watch those pesky Warriors. They're having a good year. They're in a playoff spot, last I checked, at Saskatoon tonight. And at the Mad Greek, check them out for your football watching this weekend. Whether it's pizza, ribs, or authentic Greek favorites, make it the Mad Greek Eatery. Check them out at themadgreekeatery.com. Kevin the Media is with us, the medium in the media. How about that, Kevin the Media? We might have a new nickname for you here, Kev, in the on the football from the Hughes Sports Podcast. He's going to be at Grey Cup, and it's funny. This goes so fast every day, but where your and my careers could morph with sports, where the hell is it? Wayne writes in, not Wayne from BC, it's another Wayne. I think he's in Winnipeg. He goes, I hope Davis Alexander trash talks the Ticats on a pregame interview or something. Hamilton players and fans will be stoked. Yeah, they love taking on arrogant jerks. When he says that, the Steelers in the NFL upset the Colts last week. And after the game, I guess the Steelers players said, we didn't like the way the national media was talking about us. They said we sucked. You did. That's what that's what he's saying. Hopefully Davis Alexander says something stupid to fire up. If you need that, But Kev, we're in an era now where these players, they were saying mean things about us, so we wanted to go out and play our best. That's where we're going as a society, right? You know that?
It's sad. If you need to anything to fire you up in the Western or Eastern final,
exactly.
Stop playing. Sit down. Let somebody that really cares play, because, come on, you're that close to the pinnacle. If that doesn't fire you up, ain't nothing going to fire you up. Come on.
Ken in Mississauga writes, he says, didn't Davis Alexander taunt the Winnipeg bench toward halftime? I don't think that's a good idea in Hamilton. Yeah. Boy, the viewers are loving the CFL chat today. John Ohm says Francis Trapuka was an American professional local football quarterback who played 4 seasons in the NFL and 8 in the CFL. Thank you, Google, otherwise known as John Ohm. And Ryan in upstate New York says, fun fact, Frank Trapuka's son, Kelly, played for 12 seasons in the NBA with Detroit, Utah, and Charlotte. Why we're on that, I have no idea. But I'll say it again. Dinwiddie coming up next hour, the new head coach, GM, and offensive coordinator of the Ottawa Redblacks. I remember in the Grey Cup of 2007, I called it. That's why, I broadcasted it at Skydome, and he gunned our bench with the Riders after he threw a long bomb to, I want to say, Clarence, Denmark. That's Dinwiddie. Again. Are we going to get hung up on Davis Alexander? Is he cocky now? Kev, is that his rep? I didn't know that was his rep.
Is it cocky or is it confidence? I've been called cocky so many times in my life, and I smile at it because I'm like, you can call it cocky. If I can back it up, and if Alexander can back it up, that's not being cocky. That's being confident. I like it. Point to the bench. Give him the old gun salute. Probably don't do that now, because I think if you did the gun salute, you're probably going to get fined in this era. But yeah, fire him up. Hell, that's what sports are missing, I think. I think they need more of that.
I'd like to keep you for 2 hours today. I don't want to let you go. But Ken in Mississauga, this is his kind of day on the RP show today. He says, do you think winning a Grey Cup could help Nathan Rourke get back to the NFL like Doug Flutie? Correct me if I'm wrong, but has Nathan Rourke not gone on record and said that's not on his radar anymore? That he is CFL, That's his thing now?
I'm pretty sure I heard that. He literally said he was distracted by the NFL because it is that shiny object in the corner. He was made, speaking of being made to play this game, he was built to play this game. I can't see him going back down. You never say never, obviously. If someone's going to offer him millions of dollars, I'm sure he's not going to hesitate at one iota to go and do it. But right now, I think he's concentrating on, I have to beat the Riders on Saturday. That is my legacy. Right now, it's one game at a time. We have to beat the Riders.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not even, I would guarantee at this point, he's not thinking about his legacy. At 28, I know I wasn't thinking about my legacy at all. Peter in Regina writes in on this Dinwiddie thing on the Western Dodge text line. He says, hey, Rod, Pistol Pete from Regina here. The first thing I thought with the Dinwiddie hire was, wow, the league never used to allow that to happen until after the Grey Cup. Maybe, just maybe, Toronto has been told by the league, no announcements on a new coach until after the Grey Cup. Who knows anymore? Maybe we need to have a session this afternoon, Kev, because that's where I'm lost. I'm like, are we doing it the old way? Are we doing it the new way? Are we doing a morph of both? What are we doing here? You know what I mean?
If I had that answer, I'd be a millionaire, because I have no idea. It's just, I'm still shocked that it came out the way it did, but it's out now. Are all the dominoes going to unfold next week? That wouldn't be good.
Well, the hype will be, and you're going to be at Grey Cup. You can report for me what you're hearing, because there was all that rumor and innuendo. And remember, you and I sat with Jim Barker. He told us everything that was going to happen before the Grey Cup game was even played, and it wasn't even reported yet. He was like, the Lions are firing everybody, and Killam's going to Edmonton, and this is happening, and that's happening, but nobody ever reported it. So I'm sure somebody... No, until it happened, and that's why I don't want to get my knuckles wrapped by the CFL or anybody for that matter. This report of Chris Jones in the mix to go to the Argos, well, I would not say no. The last I heard, he plans to fulfill his contract at North Carolina along with Belichick, which includes the 2026 season. I remember one time, Kev, riding in an SUV in downtown Toronto with Chris Jones and Zach Caleros. And we were driving by Lake Ontario, and Jones goes, I used to live on a boat when I coached the Argos. He was assistant coach there. And I said, you lived on a boat? Yep. I said, where'd you get your mail? And he looked at me like, I didn't get mail. All his mail went to South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. And then, yeah, it was an interesting day. Zach Caleros, we were driving through this very ritzy neighborhood, and Zach was like, oh, all these houses are owned by Asians, wealthy Asians. They don't even live in them. And I'm like, really? They're the rental properties? He's like, nobody lives in them, Rod. They're investments. Ah, okay. I'm the king of the stupid questions. As you, that was the same drive. Yeah, I just couldn't stop talking. Anyways, what's up for the rest of your last day in Mexico?
We're going to do some shopping. We've got some souvenirs to buy that we've been putting off. We've been here 3 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks tomorrow, and we keep saying we got to do this. We got to buy this for this person, and we put it off till the last day, of course. But the first thing I'm going to do is Angela. I don't know if you heard the door open in the first segment, but Angela came in and she had gone to the local bakery just down the road. It's like a little apartment, and she bought 2 of the most delicious smelling cinnamon buns that have been sitting next to me this whole time. And I'm like,
that's rude.
I want to eat them now. Look how, I'm going to bring them up. Look how good they look.
Stop. I can smell them. I can smell them from here.
They're still warm.
Well, that was
Rod.
rude.
They're still warm.
Oh, my God. Yeah, well, of course, because it's Mexico. Okay, senor. Well, this has been fun. Kevin and Angela did not plan this out real well. They're going to be in the air tomorrow during a... Is there at least Wi-Fi on the plane?
Yeah, we're going on the big plane that has like 3, 3, and 3. So I'm guessing there's Wi-Fi. I'm hoping that we can at least listen to the game, if not watch it. We might be sitting at opposite sides of the plane. As most people don't know, Angela's a huge Rider fan. So she brought her jersey. I got my jersey, and it's going to be a fun day.
I knew that I loved that gal from the moment I met her. Very smart girl, despite the fact she's traveling with you. Okay, Kev. Thanks for helping us out. Safe travels home.
We will talk to you when I get home, my friend.
Sports update and all the rest coming up after this here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sure, hope you're enjoying this edition of a Football Friday as much as I am, everybody. We got some great comments that have come in from the viewers, as we always do. But first, a sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Visit them today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. For the second consecutive year, the Canada West Football Championship will feature provincial rivals as the University of Saskatchewan Huskies face the University of Regina Rams in the 88th Hardy Cup. On Saturday, kickoff is set for 2 p.m. Central. It is at Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon. It's a rematch of last year's Hardy Cup, which saw the Rams come from 13 points down to defeat the host Huskies by a score of 19-14. Good luck, men. Both sides. May the best team win. There are 4 games in the NHL tonight with 2 Canadian teams in action. The Calgary Flames, who have won 2 in a row, host the Chicago Blackhawks. I was talking to a scout this morning about the Blackhawks. Can you people that are going to the game or we're going to watch it on TV give me a bit of a scouting report on Chicago? Because when I saw them here on opening night, they were ruby red rotten. And this scout sees the same thing. He says Bedard still has nobody to play with, which I don't think that he does. But you tell me what you see tonight with the Chicago Blackhawks, if there's any reason for hope there, because I see Spencer Knight still going to make 40 saves or more if the Blackhawks have any hope to win. Tell me what you see, folks. DM me. If you'd have my number, text me. Also, the Winnipeg Jets, who have won 9 of their last 13, visit the San Jose Sharks. There are 11 games in the NBA tonight, including one in Atlanta, where the 4-4 Hawks host the Raptors, who have reeled off 3 straight wins to even their record at 4-4. And former NFL star Antonio Brown has been arrested on an attempted murder charge stemming from a shooting after a celebrity boxing event here in Miami. Police confirmed Thursday that the 37-year-old Brown was taken into custody by U.S. Marshals in Dubai. An arrest warrant says Brown is accused of grabbing a handgun from a security staffer and firing 2 shots at a man he had gotten into a fist fight with after the amateur boxing event in May. That's your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store in Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear online at ultimatefanzone.ca. They do have the best rider gear at the best prices, just so you know it's worth the drive if you're watching from the Queen City, if you want to get your rider gear on for the Big West Final tonight. Okay. So Ryan Dinwiddie is coming up next hour. Longtime friend of mine. Love him. He is the new head coach, general manager, and also offensive coordinator of the Ottawa Redblacks. It's in segment 3 of hour 2, just so you know. It's a little shorty, 5-minute interview with dinner. And while yesterday I said, hey, is this taking away, this is a bad thing, taking away from the division final playoff games this weekend, this Dinwiddie hire? I didn't think it was yesterday. I thought, well, we're all talking about the CFL. It's struggling for coverage. No big deal. But then we get on the air, and I'm like, 90% of our CFL talk had to do with the Dinwiddie hiring and only 10% of the actual games. And that takes away from the hype and the buzz, and that sells tickets. That draws ratings rather than talking about it. 2 teams that didn't even make the playoffs, Toronto and Ottawa, and their coach. So that's all. And it used to be during Grey Cup week, you couldn't make any announcements at all. And how is this much different? I'm lining this all up because Hall of Fame equipment manager Norm Fong's watching on Game Plus television. Hello, Fongo. Hall of Famer with the Rough Riders, Regina Pats, and formerly the Los Angeles Blades. I always like to throw that out. Fongo writes in, he says, Rod, the league didn't seem to mind announcing the Grey Cup host city for 2027 2 years in advance, so I don't see how Ottawa's announcement should hurt. Sure. Thank you for the sobering assessment and perspective, because I'm such an old dog. I'm trying to go by the old rules of thumb in this new era. Just an old dog, but not old enough to get into the 55-plus communities around here in Florida. Trust me, I've tried. I've been rattling on the let me in. You're not old enough. But I feel old. Just been doing this so long. Struggling navigating how it's done now. Are we allowed to announce this or are we not? Because, my God, the fans of the Argos want to sit and talk about who their next coach will be. That happens in every league. It's not just a CFL thing. But for the names that every minute talking about that takes away from the playoff games. That's all. That's all I'm saying. In a league that needs help selling tickets. I would think the commissioner would call Ottawa and go, what are you doing? But then Ottawa could say, well, you just announced, as Fongo says, the Grey Cup last week. Or whenever it was. But on the thing, the names we're hearing now with the Argos are Mike O'Shea, Orlando Steinauer, Chris Jones. They've all played for or worked for the Argonauts in the past. And what I would say is this. Could the Argos find a way to get O'Shea and Orlando? Both? That would be the way to do it. Jones, I don't believe, is leaving Chapel Hill. No. Well, and by the way, Jones isn't going anywhere unless he gets the keys to the castle, which is why I was told why Ryan Dinwiddie was so attracted to the Ottawa job. He got the keys to the castle in Ottawa. Pinball's the GM. That's not changing. They gave him complete control, and that's what Jones wants, unless you're in North Carolina. Blah, blah, blah. Wayne in the Queen City writes in. Wayne in Victoria, originally from the Queen City, writes in and he says, that's the problem with the CFL. They are inconsistent with their rules and fines. Every league is. I will defer to the National Football League allowing Tom Brady to own 10% or 5% of the Vegas Raiders and also be on Fox as their top color commentator. That is not allowed by NFL bylaws, yet they just tend to look the other way. So it's different rules for different people. Producer Corey is saying that is a sweet deal. Yeah, well, you got to win 6 Super Bowls to do that and look like Tom Brady. There ain't that many of us that can match that. Tom's earned it. Kirk in Toronto writes and he says, hey, Rod, John Hodge predicted about a week or so ago that Dinwiddie could end up as head coach in Ottawa. And everybody thought he was blowing smoke. Turns out he wasn't. Well, again, based on all those phone calls that I was on this morning with football people, the narrative is that it all came together real fast. So let's go with that. Let's just go with that. You know, what day was it? Tuesday? We had Mark Hebscher on here, the legendary Hebsy with Madness, his new book, The Rise and Ruin of Sports Media. There's what happened, and then there's what they want you to think happened. So let's go with B to make everybody happy. Utah, Darren writes in, he says, if a coaching change takes away from the playoffs or Grey Cup, that's not the problem for the coach or the team that hired him. Well, there is that. Can't argue there. What? Vancouver Eric writes in and says, Mark Tressman to Toronto. Well, I talked to Tress about this about a month ago. Not that job specifically, but he's sitting down there in Naples, and he won't officially say that he's retired, just in case the phone rings. Would Tress go back to Toronto? Listen, man, it's football. It's the CFL. Anything could happen. We know that by now, don't we? Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in, he says, Rod, hope you can get into a 55-plus place ASAP. Get used to the old dudes asking you, how'd you like to mow my lawn? Well, in the specific place that I'm looking at, where I have friends there, the lawn's mowed for you. Okay? Specifically, one of them is Chris from the Bronx. He's like, well, just get you an interview with the Condo Association board. They'll love you. You got to be 55 or older. 902-518-3033 is the text line. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where the deals are real and the service is legendary. I'll tell you, in this Canadian hour, that's why I got the Hardy Cup thing in the sports update there, a little Raptors update, NHL. But it's a very special time in the Canadian Football League because of the playoffs and the division finals. Say, here, Candid Frank has showed up. Candid Frank. Biggest Argos fan I know, and that's saying something. He says, if not O'Shea, Pinball's the only one who could ride out the atrocious schedule next year, aside from the 25 performance. So they had a bad schedule this year. I mean, I know next year they're going on the road because of the soccer. That's life. I mean, that's the one thing that nobody talks about. And listen, when Ryan Dinwiddie joins us next hour, I'm not going to ask him about anything to do with Toronto at all. But from everybody I know that has worked for that team, while it's awesome, it's the oldest pro football team on the continent, there are a lot of challenges that go with it. All kinds of challenges. And the fact that, what do you have, 5 seasons there? And he won 2 Grey Cups, despite all the things they have to go through with just the moving of the facilities and the bad home dates and schedules and all that. It just tells you what a winner that Ryan Dinwiddie is. Huge winner. And he's taken on a big challenge. And I'll say, we're going to U.S. television next hour. That's how big of a deal is to be getting Ryan Dinwiddie on. From Elk Grove, California. You get a CFL head coach and general manager. It doesn't matter what hour, you get him on. And somehow or another, he saw the comments from Mike Kelly yesterday on this show, the former Blue Bombers head coach, Redskins scout, Eagles coach, saying that he's taken on too much and that it's not enough time to do that job. Yeah, Ryan wasn't real impressed by that. He might address that coming back in hour 2. So we got some spice on the way. We'll be back in a moment, everybody. Again, 902-518-3033. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network across Canada and 32 U.S. states. And we'll be moving across Nevada in hour 2 as well on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. We'll be right back.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, A big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on what we call affectionately a Football Friday. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to get to. And a lot of guests this hour. You know him, you love him. Jim Barker will be with us, five-time Grey Cup champion, to talk NFL, college football, and a very big weekend in the Canadian Football League. It's division final week, and in the CFL Saturday in the East, it's Montreal and Hamilton, and later on Saturday, it's BC, it's Saskatchewan. We're covering both countries here. Jim is from LA, and later on this hour, the brand new head coach, general manager, and also offensive coordinator of the CFL's Ottawa Redblacks from Elk Grove, California. Ryan Dinwiddie is going to be with us. So we're covering it all. You got to please give me a pass here, and it's not Mark's fault, who wrote in near the end of hour one. Tragic passing of a young hockey player who I wasn't aware of the passing until this gentleman wrote into the show. And I think the Regina Pats had made an announcement about it. So it's not your fault, not anybody's fault. But that was the first I heard of it, was from a viewer writing in here. David Reiki, tragically passing away. Young man. I had just spoken with him not that long ago. I was just going through our Facebook messages here. So I'm sorry. Apologies to those if I'm a little off my game here. And certainly to his vast friends, family, and fans. David Reiki passing away. Former Huskies and Pats goaltender of note. Anyways, I'm not blowing any horns. I'm not ringing any bells. We got guests coming up. And in this business, the show must go on. As we roll into the Quick Six show topics like we do every day, now would be the time to talk about the NFL, especially as obviously we're on Game Plus TV as we are every day for 2 hours, but now we're on across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. And last night, the Vegas Raiders were in action. And what did we say yesterday at this time when we were previewing the game as Week 10 kicked off, Raiders at Broncos, that the only intrigue going into the game was, could the Raiders snap Denver's winning streak? Because the season's over for Las Vegas, and it didn't happen. Denver's defense bailed out the Broncos in a 10-7 victory Thursday night on Amazon Prime. It's a waste of $8.99 a month to get it to watch games like that. The Broncos sacked Geno Smith 6 times to make up for their spotty performances on offense and special teams. By the way, the Broncos are on the way to setting an NFL record for sacks in a season. Will Lutz's 32-yard field goal in the third quarter provided the winning point, snapping a 7-7 tie. After Daniel Carlson missed a 48-yarder to tie it, the Broncos chewed up the rest of the clock with a long drive, and they got, what is it now, their 7th win in a row, the Denver Broncos. And as we have a lot of topics to get through here in this opening segment before we bring in Jim Barker in the next. And then Ryan Dinwiddie after that. Thank you, Dinner, for joining us. Late scheduled and the people that brought it together. But this is the fun thing about what we do. The viewers all expect us pundits to be right. I'm not going to name any names because if you watch this show enough, you'll know who it was. Former NFL players were on this show saying the Raiders were going to be the surprise team. 12-13 wins, I think, was the quote from one of those former NFL Super Bowl winning players. So it's not like in Vegas, they need to be kicked in while they're down any more than they already are. It's here in Miami. Dolphins got the Bills in town and on Sunday, and that's going to be gross. If we have time, I would like this hour to go through our deal or no deal for Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. That's the biggest point spread this week, I believe, is the Bills favored over the Dolphins, 8.5. My neighbor Fish, born and raised South Florida, Lake Worth, Florida specifically, says the Dolphins have ruined his love of football. And I hate to hear that, especially after what we'd heard about my friend David Reiki earlier. It is just a football team, but I understand that it doesn't play with everybody. But I will say, nobody, and I mean not one pundit that I saw, this show or any other ones, picked the Denver Broncos or Indianapolis Colts to be the up-and-coming teams in the NFL this year. Leading their divisions, nobody yet is talking about either one for the Super Bowl. But it's just fun to talk about going into the season. Who do we think is going to have the up-and-coming year? Who's going to have a down year? Blah, blah, blah. I do want to, though, pass along a bouquet to NFL Radio's Zig Fracassi, ESPN Cincinnati's Mo Egger, and Arash Madani, all for predicting the Patriots to take a huge step this year. And at the time, nobody really thought that they would. I mean, Mike Vrabel flamed out in Tennessee, their first-year head coach up there in New England. All of a sudden, they're leading the division. They're on the map. There are analytics giving them a chance to be in the Super Bowl and win it, the New England Patriots. And by the way, that's one of many marquee games in the NFL this year. Week 8 was blah in the NFL. Week 9 was a little better. Week 10, we got some serious slobber knockers here. And again, if we have time later, I'll get to the picks. But Patriots, where is it? At Tampa Bay. That's one of the marquee games. Eagles, Green Bay on Monday night. I would like to think it's a preview of the NFC Championship. Yeah, so we'll do that a little later on. By the way, I mentioned Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon brings you the picks. So we'll move along to the NHL. Brandon Hagel, point 2. Brandon Hagel's goal at 4:12 of the third period snapped a 3-3 tie and lifted the visiting Tampa Bay Lightning to a 6-3 NHL victory over the Vegas Golden Knights Thursday in the Fortress. Ivan Barbashev scored twice for the Knights, while Mitch Marner added a single. Elsewhere, Sidney Crosby scored twice on the power play as the Pittsburgh Penguins snapped the 2-game skid with a 5-3 win over the visiting Washington Capitals. Score 1 for the old guys. I'm getting all these guys' ages mixed up now, but I feel like 38, 39 is the sweet spot for pro athletes right now. Sidney Crosby is either 38 or 39, and he's leading the NHL in goals scored. Speaking of all that, Brad Marchand scored twice. Anton Lundell had a key shorty in the third period, and the visiting Florida Panthers beat the Los Angeles Kings 5-2 in NHL play last night. Marchand is 38. Born in 88. It's 2025. Yeah, he's 30. That's the sweet spot. Sergei Bobrovsky's 38. So that's what went on. It was a stunner, I would suggest, in Vegas last night with the Golden Knights. It was not a good night for Vegas sports. Raiders losing on Thursday Night Football 10-7. The Golden Knights losing at home to Tampa Bay. But while we're at it, and we won't be talking any more hockey later on in the program today, so there are only 4 NHL games tonight. So it won't take us long to get through our breakaway bets. Brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon and Cool Bet Canada, where they will match your welcome bet up to $200 at coolbet.com with the promo code RP200. Canadian viewers only. Sorry. Here we go tonight. The Minnesota Wild are at the New York Islanders. The Wild are sliding, especially on this roadie. I'll take the Islanders to win. New York Rangers at Detroit, a classic. It's always exciting when the original 6 teams get together. I'll take the Detroit Red Wings to win at home. Mentioned this last hour. I'll mention it again for the benefit of those that weren't watching earlier. The Chicago Blackhawks are at Calgary tonight. For those that are going to the game in the Saddledome or are going to be watching on Sportsnet, can you please tell me what you see out of Chicago? Because I know the Blackhawks weren't happy when I said that they're worse than last year. What were we saying earlier about the truth hurts and the teams don't like to hear it? But I was talking to an NHL scout this morning. He might be watching right now. And he said, Bedard's got nobody to play with. I'm like, that's what I said. But I said, hey, by the way, he is in the southern Alberta region. That's all I'll say. I don't want to out the guy. I said, the Blackhawks are at Calgary tonight. It'll be on your television. Can you watch the game and tell me what you see? Because in Chicago, they are fired up for the future. But I said, Spencer Knight, if he doesn't make 40 saves or more, they're not winning. Largely. He did that the other night in Vancouver. Yeah, they routed the Canucks and scored a lot of goals, but Spencer Knight still made, I think, 43 saves. That's a lot. That's a lot to ask your goalie. So you people that are watching the game tonight, Blackhawks at Flames, tell me what you see. And I'll take Calgary to win. And if they do, that would be their 3rd in a row. Are things starting to turn around? In Calgary, they certainly hope so. Winnipeg Jets are at the San Jose Sharks tonight. I'll take the Jets to win that one as we go. The program is brought to you in part by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. They have us on in their lobby every day. Point 4 of the Quick Six show topics. Jaylen Brown scored a game-high 29 points. Devin Booker had 24 and 6 rebounds. And the Phoenix Suns defeated the LA Clippers 115-102 in the lone NBA game on Thursday's slate. Tonight, there are 8 in the association, including the Toronto Raptors at Atlanta. I don't even know what they're calling it. I think they said the NBA Cup is starting tonight. I don't have space here to follow that at the moment. What I know is the Raptors have won 3 in a row. They're 4-4 going into Atlanta tonight. And here in Miami, the Heat are home to Charlotte. And I'm not going to that game either. I don't know where Rich from Edmonton is. He usually writes in and asks, what's my sports viewing on the weekend, or what I'm going to take in. The local college hockey team is home tonight. Florida Atlantic University is home to the University of Florida Gators, and it's Greek night. And they play a mile from my house. So I might jump in a toga, wrap myself on Greek night, and go down there. I probably Saturday, full disclosure, going to watch 6 hours of CFL football. The division finals, as we mentioned, are this weekend. That is our poll question today. Obviously, there are a lot of CFL fans watching this show. They're going to love our chats with Jim Barker coming up and Ottawa head coach and GM Ryan Dinwiddie later on this hour. But the poll question is, who will win this weekend's division finals? It is, for those that celebrate, in the East Final, the Montreal Alouettes at the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and in the West Final, the BC Lions at the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We went heavy into it in hour 1 in our Game Plus broadcast across Canada. If you're dying for the CFL talk, rewind. We talked about it for like an hour, these games. But leading the poll, Montreal and Saskatchewan is what our viewers think will be the likely combatants coming out to go to the Grey Cup. Brought to you by EMJ Marketing. You can vote on Twitter. You can vote on YouTube. Just checking in here. Yeah, they're having their own little party in the YouTube chat here, so I'll let them be. Vancouver Eric writes in and he says, some great guests, RP. Yeah, it is. As I said earlier, this business, life really, but I've never really been in any other business, but this business is about relationships and friendships. And I didn't even know Jim Barker till he started coming on this show. And now we talk a lot. I'd like to call him a friend. He's coming up next. And Mark Trestman, who was on here a couple of weeks back, his name is now the former head coach of the Chicago Bears, offensive coordinator in Minnesota, Oakland Raiders. His name's coming up in Toronto. I can't speak for Mark. Would he be interested in the opening there that's been created by Ryan Dinwiddie leaving? I don't know. I have no clue. I know at 69 years of age, Mark Trestman is sitting in Naples, Florida, golfing every day, loving life, but refuses to say that he's retired. It's not like he needs the money. It reminds me of my good friend Ron Estee, the Swamp Dog, LSU Hall of Famer. Had lunch with him in New Orleans a couple years back, and he always said he would give an arm, just one more play, I give up my arm. I'm like, yeah, then you would give your other arm for another play after that. These guys, they just will never say they're retired. It's impressive. It's admirable. Point 5 of the Quick Six show topics, Bo Bichette of the Toronto Blue Jays, Kyle Tucker, and Kyle Schwarber are among 13 players who have received $22 million qualifying offers from their teams in Major League Baseball. The offers were made as baseball's free agent market opened for negotiations. They have until November 18th to accept. If a player who received a qualifying offer signs with another team, his former club gets a draft pick as compensation. How are we doing on time there, Producer Corey, by the way? If you are nearby, Producer Corey, yellow. He'll let me know. Point 6, we're actually getting through the Quick Six show topics here today. When don't normally get to 6. Saturday's marquee matchup in college football is the top 10 clash in Lubbock, Texas, between number 8 Texas Tech and undefeated number 7 BYU. The other ranked matchups are number 3 Texas A&M at number 22 Missouri, and number 9 Oregon at number 20 Iowa. Best of the rest are number 5 Georgia at Mississippi State. That's at noon on ESPN Eastern. Number 2 Indiana at Penn State. Navy at number 10 Notre Dame, and LSU at number 4 Alabama. What I like to do with Coach Barker when he joins us is talk about what is his college football game of the weekend. You know, I talk about fall being for football, and it is. You know, basically when it kicks off in late August with college. But here's the good and the bad. Now we get to the games that really matter. Any of those college football teams that are in the top 12 rankings for the playoff or just on the cusp of it. There's playoff games now. Mind you, in college football, they always are. But we got the CFL Division Finals this weekend. It's win or go home now. And the good news for the NFL is we got these salacious matchups, as I mentioned. Eagles, Packers, Ravens, Vikings is a big one. Patriots, Bucks. There's also some real toilet bowl games like Cleveland at the New York Jets. On the flip side,
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, on a Football Friday. Such a huge weekend. We're live across Game Plus TV and across Nevada, Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Jim, I don't know where to start, man, other than you think it's fun when it kicks off in the fall, like in September. Now, oh my God, it's real. It's real. So I can only imagine where your focus is today.
It's a great time. It's a great time, and I've enjoyed listening to the first half of the show. And I think normally when teams make moves at the end of the year, there is a rule in the CF. The only rule, well, it's nothing during Grey Cup week, but you also have to wait till 7 days after a team loses their last game to talk to anybody from that team. And so the timing comes, you got to remember, you're dealing with families here and things like that. I mean, these coaches are not just chattel. They have families and they have lives, and you have people in the front ownership groups. For example, Ottawa, owned by Osig, who has all those other things. They're getting ready to undergo a huge construction project. And, there's rumors that they're waiting to get an okay on final, funds, and they had a bad year and they need to get some excitement in the organization. So how do you do that? You go out and hire the best coach that you can get. And they made a splash with Ryan, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Sean Burke. I mean, it's an interesting move, but I think that's why they're talking about it now, because it normally doesn't happen. Usually they're going to go after somebody who's on one of the teams that's going to be going to the Grey Cup.
Well, should they be disciplined for doing this when they did it, or get a call from the commissioner? No.
No, I mean, they waited till 7 days after Toronto. They got permission. They interviewed him. They offered him. That's the rules. And it's the rules are do nothing between the Eastern Final. There's no announcements to be made between the Eastern Final and the Grey Cup game. That's the rule. So if you're not breaking the rules. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's good that we're talking about it.
Well, that was my thought yesterday, but I was like 90% of our show was taken up talking about that and not the games. And, you like to hype the games, sell tickets, get ratings. But so we'll move to that. Ryan Dinwiddie, by the way, is coming up in the next segment, the new head coach, GM, and offensive coordinator of the Ottawa Redblacks, who did not care for Mike Kelly's comments here yesterday that he's taken on too much. We'll get to that next segment.
Okay.
So
let me just quickly, because I am a guy who did that. I was head coach and a GM, and I've done it. And, I understand what Mike is saying. First of all, being the head coach and offensive coordinator, I wish I would have done that. I don't think there's any, like what Ryan's been doing. That was the biggest mistake I made, was listening to everybody who said you're not going to have time to do everything. And I hired an offensive coordinator. And as an offensive coordinator myself, it was never, you can have a say, but it's not the same as I'm big on empowering the people under me. You can't empower them if you're constantly putting your nose in there. So what he does with that, I applaud that. Now, in terms of the personnel thing, that's a different story, because the key to, you mentioned John Huffnagel as head coach GM. Well, I had been there for 3 years as a GM when we hired him, and I moved up exactly like what Sean Burke did, so that he could have the title head coach and GM. And that's great. But the personnel staff was in order. I think that's the key. And what the Ottawa organization has said is, Sean Burke has been there 4 years. 3 of those years he's been 4-14. And that's not easy to be 4-14. I mean, I hate to say that, but so they're saying it was all on coaching because it's not personnel, because Sean's going to stay there. He's keeping his personnel staff, good guys. I've met them all. They work hard. So they're saying personnel's not the issue, and the coaching can completely change the thing. So that's going to be interesting to watch. So I wish Ryan good luck. I had this conversation with him that personally, I work for Don Matthews and asked him that question. Don, why don't you ever be the GM? And what he told me, I passed on to Ryan, because I said, Ryan, you're in Don Matthews type of territory. And Don always told me, Jim, I'm the best coach in this league, and I'm going to get whatever money I want. And there's no GM that's ever going to tell me that I'm not going to have this player. And I have the final say on everything. But when I walk in that locker room, I can say, I tried hard to get you that raise, and the front office, they just wouldn't do it. Your persona as a coach changes when you're the GM, when you also are dealing with their money. It's great to be a player's coach. And when you're part of their group, you can do that. But when you're part of the other side of football, because you have the football side and you have the business side. And when you're now running the business side, you can't go in there with the same kind of perception from the players. And I just thought Ryan was at a different level. He didn't need to be the GM. There's nowhere he's going to go where he's not going to have final say, because he can pretty much dictate whatever terms he wants. He's at that point. And again, what happened in Toronto, that I don't know. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, the point is, he's a great football coach, 2 Grey Cups in the number of years he had it. Phenomenal. What happened this year? Vince Magri is gone. I think Vince deserves Alex Russell. Those guys deserve a ton of credit for what happened. Now, Pinball's there by himself with John Murphy as his consultant. And Ryan, they did it all this year, and they made some really bad moves. I mean, they traded to John Allen, their offensive tackle, who was up for offensive lineman of the year, for Ryer Varga, a backup Canadian linebacker. And then they trade Flo Arimolade. We've talked about him a lot, a difference maker, for a Canadian linebacker. And then they trade the option to get Jackson Finley in the draft at 16, and they trade down 3 picks with BC, who snaps him up immediately, and they end up with so somebody made those decisions. Now, if it's Michael Pinball Clemens, then he's accountable for it. And if it's Ryan, then he learns from it, I hope. But those are the things that go into it. So I just wanted to say that in Ryan's behalf. I'm excited for him. Glad it's happening.
He's coming in next, but here's the media guy in me coming out. All of that talk and nothing on the division final games. So let's do that. Montreal's favored at Hamilton. Riders are favored at home against BC.
Which one?
What do you envision is going to play out? Yeah. What do you envision is going to play out?
Okay, the way I'm going to go with my original picks at the beginning of the year with those two teams. Here's the thing with Hamilton and Montreal. So Hamilton beats them twice, and everybody says, well, but they didn't have Davis Alexander, and that's true. But they not only beat them, they beat them up physically. And it was a problem last year I felt BC had with Winnipeg. They physically just weren't going to hang. I think Montreal's got a problem physically, that Mustafa Johnson is out. Lawal Uguak is having problems on the defense, with his knees. He's not able to play a lot. And I think that Hamilton's offensive line is one of the better ones in the league. Barrow is coming around, and I like their offensive line. The second game they played against them, they ran for 256 yards. I mean, Greg Bell had 150 on the ground, 34th. He had almost 200 yards in total offense. Noel Thorpe is Don Matthews' disciple. He believes in you don't give up big plays, and if they want to run the ball, they might run it for 5, for 4, for 5, for 6, and then they're going to say, shoot, this is not. They're going to open it up. Just be patient, and you'll eventually, if you don't give up the big plays, they're going to give it to you. And that's the way Noel is. And Scott understands Noel's philosophy. Noel was with me with Don Matthews. That's a Don Matthews philosophy, is offensive coordinators can't help themselves. Well, Scott has shown that he can do that. So, again, Davis Alexander comes in. They're a different team. And, with all of his, shenanigans and leadership, from a coach's perspective, he's that guy. He's like Samody Lawrence. He's that guy you look at and say, that can't be helpful. But when he's on your side, man, you're so glad he's on your side. And that's Davis Alexander. If I was a GM there, I would bring him in by himself. I would not the coach, the players need to believe in Davis Alexander the way they do. But I thought what he did was, he's played in 38% of their games this year. Not even 40% of their games. Yeah, they have not lost, but he's played in 38%, and he's going to run by the bench of a team that's been to 5 straight Grey Cups. And I felt it was really disrespectful for a young guy who has done absolutely nothing but play in 38% of a team's games to go popping off to another team's bench. If a guy's going to pop off, guys are going to pop off. But when you're the leader that everybody's looking at, I don't believe it's a great look. I think he hurt himself. I think there's no need to do it. There's ways to lead your team without doing that. So, but he's got to be him. I think that's important. Players look at him. They're going to follow him. They completely trust in him. I still believe Bo Levi against the young rookie. I'm going to take Bo Levi until this guy proves it to me. All right, I know you're dying to say stuff.
No, you just convinced me Hamilton's going to win for that. The football god. If the football gods don't get him tomorrow, they'll get him at some point, and it might be tomorrow.
That's kind of the goes into it, and yeah. I think when that fan wrote to you, that's kind of what they had in mind. Not necessarily that they need that to be fired up, but there is something about that. There's a certain respect level that players in this league take personal. And when you go and you're going to pop off to a team that's been to 5 straight Grey Cups, when you don't even play in 40% of your regular season games, there's a problem with that. And if I'm on the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I'm fired up just by that, because that's embarrassing my league. So that's my take on Hamilton. Like I say, they don't make mistakes. They don't take penalties. And will Montreal be able to hold up physically inside? Now to the other game. Phenomenal game. I just don't see where the BC Lions can win this. Physically, it's going to come down. Last week, Calgary kicked the hell out of that offensive line. Nathan Rourke didn't have people in his face. It was just, they rushed the passer well, especially inside. Hudgens and those, they forced him to move from the pocket. Well, The Riders have got Micah Johnson, Mike Rose, Ali Saad, Caleb Sanders. There's 4 guys inside. They're the inside 2, the defensive tackle and the nose tackle. And they are vicious, and they will keep them fresh. And this is Corey Mace. That's what he played. They're good in there. So I think Nathan Rourke can be as great as Nathan Rourke wants to be. But they're going to flush him out to Malik Carney on one side, Habubaka Baldonado on the other side. And those guys are going to get get sacks and things. But he's going to be moving, and that's not a good thing for them. I mean, will he get some good runs? Probably. I love the linebacker core in Saskatchewan. Their secondary is going to be back at almost full strength. They're playing Rivas at free safety, and I'd maybe play him at – I don't know enough about Brooks, who's a starting Sam linebacker. But they have Ford back who's ready to pop in. I think they can bring Rivas down weak side to help them against the running game, although, Butler has been hurt and – hasn't been practiced all week, so if he plays, he may not be totally healthy. And BC has a thing of they just don't stick with the running game. And so, I'm going to take Saskatchewan all the way. I think it's going to be Saskatchewan and Hamilton, exactly what I called at the beginning of the season.
Gotcha. I think that's got it all covered. If you don't mind, because you have a Vegas flair, if we can switch over to the NFL for a second, and the Raiders played last night on Thursday Night Football. Lost, yeah. What would you do if you were the Raiders?
He embarrassed Pete Carroll. Embarrassed over 70 coaches that are still, trying to plug away. It was for that team to come out and play that way. I thought was just I was shocked. I was shocked. And Denver's won 7 in a row or something. Now they're 8-2, and they found a way to win. But Bo Nix showed a lot of flaws in that game. It was as awful a game as you could play, and I don't know if it's the Thursday night thing that's creating it. But this week the story to me more has been the trades. I mean, the Jets trading Quinnen Williams.
Go ahead.
Trading Sauce Gardner. You trade, and you can get all these picks you want, but if you don't pick right, you're not going to win. Now they picked Sauce Gardner in 22, 4th overall. Now they're trading him to get another first-round pick, which probably won't be that high. So that means they're trading down a bit. They got more than that for him, but still, they get the real chance, and they take Zach Wilson from BYU, 2nd overall, and we now know what's happened. He's been all over the place, and he's in the disaster in Miami and can't get on the field. So they made a. You can't make mistakes with those picks. You just can't. I mean, New England picks 3rd. They get Drake May, 2 years ago. When you have the 2nd pick overall, and that's who they chose to lead their team, didn't work out. They bring in Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you know what? I'm going to liken it to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for CFL fans. So that team was in 2019. That team had lost 4 out of 5 games. Chris Streveler was a starting quarterback as Matt Nichols had gotten hurt. They'd lost 4 out of 5 games. The last game of the year, the Argonauts basically just give them Zach Collaros. Just give it to them. And again, the Argonauts were awful. We're not going to the playoffs. And they just handed them Zach Collaros. 1 game. He played 1 game in the 2019 season. Then they go to the playoffs and they win the Grey Cup. And they start 5 straight years of going to the Grey Cup because Zach Collaros fit exactly what Buck Pierce became the offensive coordinator from Paul LaPolice, and the rest is history. I mean, you got to get that one player. You got to get that one guy that can turn it. The Seattle Seahawks, I think a guy being overlooked in this whole season is Sam Darnold. I mean, I think they finally got their guy, and I think Sam Darnold is coming into his prime time. You can go get an Aaron Rodgers, and he may give you he'll do exactly what he's doing for the Steelers. Will it be good enough to win a Super Bowl? I don't think so. But that's what he is. So, but you got to get that guy that can take you to the promised land. And again, in the CFL, that was Zach Collaros. I mean, he hadn't played the whole year because of Simone Lawrence hit him when he was with the Riders.
Right. But it has to be a fit. It's not, you know, Zach couldn't go anywhere. We had him in Sask, and we didn't win.
Exactly.
He couldn't get on the
field. It's a whole thing of understanding, and this is what Ryan will bring maybe to Ottawa, is a philosophy and a kind of player that he wants. And you've got to have coach fit player. And when the player gets with the right coach, it's history. Sam Darnold was with 3 teams. I mean, Minnesota, he did pretty well, but with the Jets, awful. Didn't matter who the Jets had. They were awful offensively. So they've missed the quarterback, and you can trade and you can keep trading your team away and getting tie picks. But if you pick the wrong guy at quarterback, you're going to be in the same boat. So that's my NFL take this week.
Maybe it's not the quarterback, though. If you watched Hard Knocks, and I'm not really an Aaron Rodgers fan, but, you know, when they follow the guys around, you were part of that with the Argos show they did.
Yes.
I don't know whether you like that or not, but like Aaron Rodgers, if you watched that, and I don't normally watch that, but I did watch the Jets one, and he was like, is this how we do things around here? Things are let to slide, be late for workouts, you know, dropping passes. And so maybe it's not the quarterback, Jim. Oh, we only have 1 minute. You know what I'm saying?
Well, again, it's player fitting system. And again, different to Bill Belichick, whatever he does, he can take Randy Moss, who can destroy a locker room, and he fits in. He's able to play there. Terrell Owens goes to Philadelphia with Andy Reid and completely destroys that locker room, gets him fired. Got him fired. And so different locker rooms can handle any kind of player. I think Andy Reid is now that guy that can take Rashid Rice, can take all those guys, and he can turn them into Super Bowl champions. Got it.
They're going to kick us off. Okay. Thanks, Coach. Enjoy the games. See you in a week.
Great weekend.
You too. Jim Barker checking in, 5-time Grey Cup champion. And we're very excited to welcome next the head coach and general manager of the Ottawa Redblacks, Ryan Dinwiddie, right after this timeout of Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. We're live across Canada, Game Plus TV Network, and 32 U.S. states, and across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. On cue, we got him, the pride of Elk Grove, California, the former Boise State star, and now the head coach and general manager of the Ottawa Redblacks, Ryan Dinwiddie. Coach, congratulations. How's it feel, dinner?
It feels good. Excited about it. New opportunity, obviously new challenges and new expectations. So looking forward to all that stuff.
Well, I'm sure you answered all the questions yesterday in your news conference, but you haven't answered mine. You're taking over a team 4-14. It's a big challenge, man. Where does a guy start in your shoes?
Well, we got to start with the quarterback. Built a relationship with Drew yesterday. We were on the phone for about 30 minutes, just kind of going over some things. Really getting to know each other more than anything. So we got to find a way to protect them. We got to get an O-line that can, have a little nastiness to it. So that's one of the things we got to fix. But I think it starts with the quarterback. We got to, have an answer there. And I think, we can win football games with Drew. And now we got to build a roster around him.
By the way, there's a ton of viewer questions. We don't have time. This is only 5 minutes, everybody, with Ryan Dinwiddie, and he's a busy guy. What do you say to those that say there's not enough time in the day to be offensive coordinator, head coach, and GM?
Well, I think there's a lot of questions on the first time I took a job in Toronto, who obviously jumped on the show here. But to be honest with you, I was obviously the offense coordinator in Toronto as well and the head coach. So added the GM title and duties. But, at the same time, Berkey's still the vice president. And he's going to be doing a lot of the stuff with me. So it's not like I'm just going to be on my own doing all that stuff. So I don't see the workload changing too much. But again, you obviously have to be aware of that and make sure you're not, overtaxing yourself in certain areas.
Well, you know what they said when you were hired in Toronto, dinner? They said he's too young. You were 38. And I said, then you don't know him. And 2 Grey Cups later, you won it. How do you look back at your Toronto experience? Have you had time to think about it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of this thing happened in a hurry. Was excited about it, so we jumped at that. So you didn't really get a chance to really reflect on it too much. But yeah, I'm gonna miss my players. The bonds that I built in that room. With the staff. All across the board and the players. I think we really made that place special and a place that those players felt really comfortable at. So losing those bonds is going to be tough. But at the same time, I'm gonna rely on my history, building that thing in Toronto, and obviously that's the way I want to approach this thing.
No doubt. Colin from Ottawa is watching. He says, we're so happy to have the best offensive play caller in 3-down football as our head coach. So that there's some more kudos for you. They're fired up in Ottawa. I got a lot of friends there with your hire. How does that feel?
It feels good. I've been battling against them since 2013 when they, started the franchise when I was in Montreal. 14 was my first year as coordinator. And then obviously Calgary, I wasn't the play caller. Dave was. He was a coordinator. But yeah, we've had some great battles over the last, few years, and we've had the better end of the stick, being in Toronto. So now I look forward to trying to change that narrative for our fans, and excited to be here. I'm glad they are as well, and now it's up to us to start putting points on the board, but stacking W's.
We're already inside 90 seconds. We only got 90 seconds left. But you mentioned Drew Brown. You've played against him. It looks like he's all that. Can he be all that? Is he the next one? The guy?
Well, I'll tell you, he's one of the top 9 in the league, that's for sure. I think he's played his best football against us in Toronto. I mean, we always had to score 50 points, each game to beat him. So I think he's got the skill set for it. Now we got to find ways to, make the game more comfortable for him and make some things easier for him. You can't ask him to just throw from the pocket, consistently throughout the game. So we got to find ways to run the football, get our screen game going. And then when the time's right, he's going to have to make some of those hero throws. But I don't want him forcing the balls into covers early in the game. So we got to work on some of our game management stuff.
Well, the other first thing you said was protection. Every time I watched, he was running for his life or he was getting blown up. His helmet was getting knocked off. So Ken in Toronto says Ottawa fans will like that losses at home will be unacceptable. That's he's from Mississauga. He's an Argos fan. John in Winnipeg says Ottawa deserves a winner. Good luck, Ryan. Jeff in Calgary says the Redblacks need something to get excited about. So it is nice to see the positivity. And dinner, we're already out of time. You answered all the questions, man. Yeah. Go get them. Appreciate the time.
All right, appreciate it. Yep, thanks, RP. Appreciate you, buddy. Have a good one.
All right, good luck. The head coach and general manager of the Ottawa Redblacks, Ryan Dinwiddie, joining us, as you see, from the nation's capital and TD Place Stadium. If we have time, we'll get to our NFL picks right after this, everybody, for our friends at Pump Jacks. There's a couple special things that I do want to say. We'll be right back. You're watching on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, for the final segment of the week. And bear with me. I will tell you, it is, as always, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. If you're looking for a perfect place to perfect your shot, look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes. State-of-the-art equipment, top-notch shooting lanes. It's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages and skill levels. Check them out. Tell them the RP Show sent you. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Tonight, the Flames are home to the Chicago Blackhawks. I thank you, Ron, in Calgary. He writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, I'll give you a great breakdown tomorrow on the Hawks versus Flames. Well, hang on. Write me on Monday. Or you can text into this line, but I won't see it until Monday, so thank you. I apologize if I was a little off this hour. I learned just prior to going to air of this hour of David Reekie passing away. Very tragically, former goaltender of a hockey club that I was with, Regina Pats. We had just spoken not that long ago. And I couple that with this. I'm not going to do NFL picks here right now. Everybody's doing picks. Here's a headline from the Associated Press. The headline, Marshawn Kneeland's death highlights the importance of mental health resources for NFL players. And it reads, it's okay to not be okay. Every conversation about mental health includes that important statement and a message that tough times don't last. Things will get better and help is available. The NFL and the rest of society have come a long way in dealing with mental wellness. The stigma surrounding it has changed. The suck it up and tough it out mentality are long gone. Players are encouraged to prioritize their mental well-being. They're told to seek professional support if needed. They have more resources available to them now. The NFL and NFL Players Association in 2019 made it a requirement to have a licensed behavioral health clinician on staff of each team. Well, great. And that didn't stop Marshawn Kneeland from taking his life earlier this week. Self-inflicted gunshot wound. David Reekie passing far too young. And I don't know about you, we've always said, and I've been doing this a long time, that it comes in threes. So I'm just going to speak to the men that are out there as the professional mental health and addiction recovery coach that I am. Don't let that third be you, okay? Don't let it be you. There's a lot of people that are struggling out there, like I mean a lot. And these are very, very tough times. So whoever is watching right now, don't let it be you. Go to my my social media, Instagram at Rod Pedersen Official, or my recovery page at Pedersen Recovery, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. DM me. Don't let that third person be you, because Marshawn Kneeland, David Reekie, this is not good times. We can't have this happen. So Wayne in BC, thank you for writing in. Western Dodge text line. He says, another great segment with Jim Barker. I love Football Friday because of Jim's analysis. Have a great weekend and enjoy the CFL playoffs this weekend, everybody. Scott in Moose Jaw writes in, we got a lot of these CFL fans tuning in because it's a very big weekend. It's the Final Four leading into the Grey Cup next week. That's the one thing about this show, that through 1,613 episodes, we've sat down with these network executives. Darren did it with the Game Plus people. Producer Corey has done it with the Gray Broadcasting people, Silver State Sports Network. And they all say, what makes this show different? There's literally a million shows out there. I think the last time I saw, there's 2 million podcasts alone. Talk about a very crowded space. And people say, well, these guys say, because this one's different. There isn't another one on the air like this. And actually, earlier on this morning, I was thinking of bringing on my good friend Bob Merrier, the sober coach, to the stars. He does the same kind of work that I do, but he does it at a very high, very expensive level with celebrities. But he's a huge Montreal Canadiens fan. He spends half his time in Montreal, half his time down here in South Beach. And he's just very entertaining. Look up Bob Merrier. He worked with Rob Ford. He worked with these guys. Most of our work is anonymous, but some of them don't care whether their name is used or not. But Candid Frank writes in, thank you, Franco, for continuing to watch. He says, thanks, Rod. Depression alone is a bad mix. Oh, yeah. We call that, or we used to call it, co-occurring modalities, addiction and a mental health affliction. Got a bunch of things going on One sucks. Multiple, not good. Utah Darren writes in, he says, we need to know it's okay to not feel okay. Just get help. Cardinal Ryan in upstate New York says, have a great weekend, Rod Squad. Call a friend and check on them. Your voice may be the one that saves a life. Oh, exactly. John says, have a great weekend. Off to Regina to support my team. Go, Riders, go. Travel safe, my friend. Carlos is watching in Indianapolis. He says those were some fast segments with the coaches. I know, right? That same John says one of the good guys, Ryan Dinwiddie. Great interview, Rod. I knew because we only had 5 minutes. That Friday third segment is real fast, like lightning quick. But that's perfect because that's Ryan Dinwiddie. Lightning quick. And I've been talking with my ballers about, Davis Alexander gunning the Winnipeg bench. If that's what he did, I didn't see it. Dinwiddie did the exact same thing in the Grey Cup against us. I don't mind cocky guys. I don't mind it at all. I like the fire. And if you go too far, the football gods will get you. So there's always that line. And trust me, there's a lot of people just finding out who I am. There was nobody cockier than me. I mean, nobody. But life kicked me in the nuts enough. I got it. And these guys still got some kicking to get. And that's what makes it fun. So 3 p.m. Eastern is the Eastern final in the CFL. 6:30 Eastern is the Western final. Can't wait. Tony and Cochran. I can't get to the time, but you enjoy your weekend too. And yeah, the Browns and Jets, you enjoy that, especially if you're having a tough time sleeping. Thank you to Kevin the Medium, Jim Barker, Coach Dinwiddie, and everybody else. You too, producer Ryan. And again, check in with somebody if you're struggling. DM me. Don't be the third one. We'll be back Monday for Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
That.